I posted a poll asking you what you thought I should read next. This book won by a landslide, and I can understand why. Hello friends, I'm back with another reading vlog. I think this is to be a vlog. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I am getting back into the swing of things, so that's the plan. That's the hope. We'll see. We're supposed to get some pretty gross weather in the next week or so, and I feel like the best way to spend time during snowy, icy, cold winter days is snuggled up with a good mystery. I posted a poll on the YouTube account asking you what you thought I should read next, and this book won by a landslide, and I can understand why, because I've heard so many phenomenal reviews of this that I have been dying to pick it up, and so now is the time. We're going to pick up The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I started this last night and I'm only like 30 pages in and I am adoring it so far. The writing in this is so indulgent. Like, it is so gorgeous and illustrative and just written so beautifully. It's just, I mean, I love it. I can't even, and like I said, I'm only 30 pages in, but you can just tell right away that the way she she says so much, but with so little words. You know, it's not overly written. It's not flowery prose. It's simple, but descriptive and gorgeous. And I am really loving it. It follows many, so far I think I've seen 3 or 4 POVs and I'm 30 pages in. This is about early morning, August 8, 1975, a camp counselor discovers an empty bunk. Its occupant, Barbara Van Laar, has gone missing. Barbara isn't just any 13-year-old. She's the daughter of the family that owns the summer camp and employs most of the region's residents. And this isn't the first time a Van Laar child has disappeared. Barbara's older brother similarly vanished 14 years ago, never to be found. As a panicked search begins, a thrilling drama unfolds, chasing down the layered mysteries of the Van Laar family and the blue-collar community living and working in its shadow. Moore's multi-threaded story invites readers into a rich and gripping dynasty of secrets. Liz Moore's most ambitious and wide-reaching novel yet, The God of the Woods, is a story of inheritance and second chances, the tensions between a family and a community, and a history that will not let any of them go. I think that is an apt description. Like, right on the very first page, I immediately highlighted a quote that I just thought was so beautiful and it really spoke to me. And it says, "Later on, the 10 seconds that pass between sight and inference will serve to her as evidence that time is a human construct, that it can slow or accelerate in the presence of emotion, of chemicals in the blood." Such a beautiful way to describe the feeling of time. I definitely will check in with you as I make progress in this book. It's 473 pages, not super chunky. That's it. I'm going to dig in and hopefully read a pretty big chunk of it today. It's Sunday, by the way, April. Oh my gosh. Sunday, January 5th. The year has started out with a bang so far because my very first read of the year was Ubik by Philip K. Dick. I have a video on that would be out before this one, and I loved that book. So if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on that, please go check that video out. I will post the link here somewhere. I'll see you in a bit, guys. Bye. Mini update. I'm on page 126. It is Tuesday. So this book is definitely heavily leaning on the literary fiction side, which I knew going into it. And it is, like I said before, gorgeously written. A slow unfolding of events, of peeling back the layers of the characters, of laying down breadcrumbs towards the mystery of these disappearing children. And the timeline is not linear, so you get snapshots from the current disappearance of the daughter, and it also flashes back to when the son disappeared, which was about 15 years prior, I believe. The way, even within those two timelines, there is jumping around in between those timelines. I don't know if you noticed, but at the start of this chapter that I just took a clip of, it lays out the different timelines that are approached in the story. So they have the 1950s, 1961, winter of 1973, June of 1975, July of 1975, and August of 1975. So it bounces around quite a bit, but it's a really great way to get certain aspects of the characters. And so it kind of lays a foundation and then builds upon it, which is obviously, whatever, that's pretty typical, I guess. But it's a really interesting way to character build and to build a mystery, because you really get an in-depth look. I think her writing is immersive, it's captivating, I am intrigued, and I really feel compelled to pick up this book. It's also kind of reminding me of Kate Morton. I don't know if you have ever read from Kate Morton before, but she has quite a few books out there, and they are all like historical fiction mysteries. And they all, most of them deal with family secrets, these things that have happened in the past that come back to haunt people in the future. And she writes quite similarly, I think, in my opinion. Like, that's the vibe that I'm getting from this story. It's very Kate Morton-ish, So I'm not even a third of the way through this, but really liking it, really interested in figuring out what the heck's going on. Yeah, I think that's it. I just wanted to give you a quick little update and tell you what I was thinking, because it came to me last night when I was sitting here reading, like, this so reminds me of Kate Morton. Bye! First snow day that we've had here in South Carolina in 3 years. So I think everyone's a little excited, also concerned, because it is supposed to turn to sleet or freezing rain later at some point, which is never fun, especially here in the South where they are basically completely unprepared for any type of freezing precipitation. Everything just kind of comes to a screeching halt, because they don't have the normal, I'm from the Baltimore area, and snow is a common occurrence, and they use salt on the roads, and they have tons of snow plows, and a snow like this is a drop in the bucket, no big deal. But down here in the South, life comes to a halt because they use brine on the roadways, and people don't know how to drive in this weather, and so it gets much more dangerous and concerning. So it's kind of sad, and you would think that they would have learned their lesson at some point and maybe adopted some of the ways of the North, but I guess not. So I figured I'd give you a quick update with the snow in the background. I am approaching 100 pages left of God in the Woods, and I am so enthralled and just need to know what's going to happen. This is just so expertly written and so captivating. She's really just peeling back the layers, and how she maintains all these different characters and all these different storylines with such perfection and ease is kind of mind-blowing and impressive. But I am so interested to see where it goes, because I really feel like she has pulled the blinds down on me. I feel like I have some idea of the outcome, but I also feel like she is the type of writer who will completely have tricked me, and that all the little red herrings are throwing me off track and deceiving me. The ending is not going to be what I expected at all, which is perfect. I love that. I hate, honestly, when I can predict the outcome of a mystery. I feel like it really detracts from the story, and then it just, I think the purpose of a good mystery, and if it is written correctly, what they are able to do is to totally throw the reader off course. And I don't know, I just have the feeling that that's what's going to happen, that something totally out of left field is going to come along at the end and just blow my theories out of the water. So I'm excited to see where that goes. The fact that some of these characters are so despicable, they are just so real, so lifelike. I actually feel like if I was walking through this town and happened to run into one of these characters, I would know exactly who they were and understand their motivations and their feelings, because they are so adeptly written. Like, they are so well realized. She's just done such a fantastic job. I think I'm gonna finish it today, hopefully, maybe, or come close. And it's the perfect day for reading. It's cold and snowy, and I've just been curled up all morning. That's the plan. I hope to get to it, or to finish it today. I will wrap you up, no spoilers. I think that after I complete this book, I am going to be very interested in going back and reading some of her other books. If they're anywhere near as good as this one, I am sure that I will love them, and she could be a new favorite author. Also, quickly, just want to mention a quick life update. Our house here in South Carolina, we do have a contract on it, and as long as everything goes smoothly, we will be moving in about 35 days. So that's super exciting. This is a great house, and I wish that we could pick it up and take it with us to Montana. I love the house. It's just more so the South Carolina area that I'm not as keen on. So we've been busy with that, like getting it ready for showings, and then of course the inspections, and having to leave the house for large chunks of time with the dogs. And yeah, it's just been a little bit of a roller coaster ride. If you've ever sold a house, I'm sure you're very familiar with that. But we're hopefully on the home stretch and are looking at houses in Montana, and excited to move on to the next chapter. So I will also keep you posted, and when we move, I will hopefully vlog that experience, maybe during the drive and some of the lesser chaotic times. That'll be fun. I can't wait to share it with you. So that's it for now, guys. I will see you in a little bit when I finish God of the Woods. Bye. Let's wrap up God of the Woods. This was a solid 4.5-star read for me. I thought that the ending was very satisfying, also depressing and sad and tragic. The one thing I found very heartbreaking about this is the fact that this story revolves around 2 missing children that belonged to the same family, the same parents. One of which, Bear, he was an only child at the time, and he went missing, and everybody in the family was devastated because he was just like this picture-perfect child. He was sweet, lovable, outdoorsy, outgoing, just an all-around exemplary child, their dream child, their heir. And then he goes missing, and it's this tragic event that gets wrapped up in a very unsatisfactory way, and the family feels the ramifications of that for a long time, and they eventually decide to have another child. They have a girl. They have Barbara. And from the very beginning, Barbara is an outsider. She is not accepted by the parents, by the family. She is ridiculed and poorly treated, just lives this life as an ugly stepchild, from the very beginning, though she is their kid, their child. And so you can't help but feel bad for this girl, this little girl who's living in the shadow of a brother she never even met and can never seem to satisfy her parents, and just lives this horrid, depressing life. And, from the get-go, you can feel the difference in the storylines. The storyline that follows Bear's disappearance and the storyline that follows Barbara's disappearance. The implications that those events have on the family. And it's pretty despicable the way that they treat this girl who, she never asked to be born into this family or to have to try to fill the shoes of a brother she never met. Yeah, it's just very emotionally raw and devastating. And the way that Liz Moore juggles these timelines and these characters, I feel was fantastically done. I never felt confused or lost. I know I've heard it said by some that the way the one storyline leaves off and bounces to another, that it's frustrating at times because you want to see something come to a conclusion, some event to finish to unfold before you move on to a different storyline. That's not what this author does. She bounces around. I don't know, for me, I found it very satisfying and it worked extremely well. I really, really enjoyed this. I think that it was super easy to read. It has really short chapters. There's quite a bit of dialogue, and the characters are very satisfying, very distinctive, and they have each like these integral roles that they play within the story. The world that it's in, it feels very reminiscent of other like 80s horror movies that kind of lull you into this sense of cozy security because, it's in the woods, you're camping, it's like this familial setting where, and friendships, but yet all these like horrible things happen to these kids. Highly recommend it if you're into like mystery thrillers and very atmospheric books. Then this checked all those boxes for me. Definitely keep in mind the multiple timelines and the multiple character POV shifts. If that's something that maybe doesn't work for you and you know that going in, then maybe this isn't for you. But for me, I very much enjoy that. I feel like it gave it a very well-rounded, all-encompassing feel. You got every little tidbit, every possible bit of information that was relevant to the story and really made it feel complete. Highly recommend God in the Woods. If you are interested in that type of storyline and execution, then you should definitely check it out. So that's going to wrap up this vlog, book review, whatever you want to call it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I would love to know what you thought about this book if you read it, if you agree that this type of timeline jumping works for you, and if not, tell me why not. Okay, bye!